Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Olumide Macaulay. On today's program, Rowdy session in House of Assembly as different motions seek investigation of Speaker and former Chairman of the Appropriation Committee. Kaduna State Government targets 3 million children in ongoing polio immunization exercise. And the Ekiti State Government insists on preserving recent performance of its candidates at the National Examination Council exams. Thank you for joining us. We begin at the National Assembly, where reports reaching us say there's been a rowdy session in the House of Representatives over a motion demanding the investigation of the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, for alleged budget padding. The second motion is also asking for the investigation of Mr. Jibrin Abdulmumini for allegedly hearing corruption allegations on the entire House and the Speaker. And in a unanimous decision, the House agrees that the Ethics Committee should commence immediate investigation of Honorable Jibrin for what they call misconduct and for hearing allegations of budget padding on the House.
Honorable Jibrin embarked on a campaign of calumny and denigration by making false and scandalous statements and publication in print, electronic media against all members of the House of Representatives collectively and the House of Representatives.
Order, please.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, the House resolves to refer the above matter and Honorable Jibrin to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges for proper investigation. The committee shall report its findings and make appropriate recommendations to the House within 1 week.
So the motion has been moved and seconded. Motion has been moved and seconded. And the only prayer to the motion is to refer the above matter and Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin to the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges for proper investigation. The committee to report its findings and make appropriate recommendations to the House within 1 week. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it.
Honorable Yakubu Dogara, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, the Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, is asking President Buhari to reshuffle his cabinet. Mr. Ekweremadu is suggesting the redeployment of the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udo Udoma, from their present ministries. He is making the call as the Senate begins debate on the state of the economy. Senator Ekweremadu claims that he is not impressed with the performance of the Ministers of Finance and Budget and National Planning and says they will perform better in other ministries. However, some other lawmakers are calling for caution as regards the recommendation made by the Senate President on the sale of government assets. Lawmakers are also asking government to increase spending and look for how to expand the country's sources of foreign exchange. Some other lawmakers are also asking government to ban the importation of food such as milk, sugar, palm oil, frozen fish, and clothing. The Senate will for 2 days debate the state of the economy and make recommendations to the executive on measures to solve the challenges confronting the country. Elsewhere, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonisaki, has asked for the evolution of newer and more contemporary counter-terrorism strategies to combat insecurity in the country. He gave the directive at the opening ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff Combined Second and Third Quarter Conference holding in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. In line with the directive, the Chief of Army Staff has ordered a fresh round of military training to enhance the capacity of troops to maintain security. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishaki, and the Chief of Army Staff arrived at the Nigerian Army School of Military Engineers for the traditional inspection of the Guard. That done, participants of the conference, including the Benue State Deputy Governor, Benson Abonu, shift base to the hall, while commending officers and men in the Nigerian Army for providing a secure environment in the country. The General urges them to up the ante.
I believe this forum will provide the opportunity to appreciate the enormity of the responsibility expected of the Nigerian Army and to deliberate on the performances of the Nigerian Army in the past 2 quarters of the year. I therefore charge you to deliberate extensively, to evolve strategies, to enhance your approach to the security challenges facing our dear nation.
The Chief of Army Staff seems prepared to consolidate on his gains against Boko Haram, Niger Delta militants, and armed herdsmen.
I have directed the conduct of major training exercises in identified and potential trouble areas.
The Deputy Governor remembers with mixed feelings of pain and gratitude the state's period of conflict with armed herdsmen.
I will not end this speech without giving you a wholehearted gratitude for what you did for us during the insurgency and the invasion of the herdsmen in Benue State.
Besides the review of military intelligence and counter-terrorism operations, the service chiefs also commissioned the NASME and host community link bridge, the NASME Waterworks, and a free medical outreach. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army says troops of Operation Lafia Dole and multinational joint task force have captured Malam Fitori in the northernmost parts of Borno state after a fierce battle closely covered by air operations. The acting director, Army Public Relations, in a statement says the terrorists had reinforced around Nigeria's border with Niger Republic, but the troops in its Operation Gamma Aiki killed several of the Boko Haram terrorists in the resulting encounter and subsequently had to withdraw to a vantage position. It says the operation is ongoing. Staying with security, but now to the south-south, efforts towards achieving stability in the Niger Delta may have begun following a meeting of key stakeholders in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. The meeting had in attendance members of the Niger Delta Contact Group made up of traditional rulers from Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Delta states, as well as representatives of the Pan-Niger Delta Group. They met with development partners from the European Union, the United States, and the UK, as well as the federal government team led by the Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta Affairs. In addition to forging a common front for dialogue, the NDCG also canvassed that the forthcoming Niger Delta Summit should be held in the region.
The activities of the NDDGC has greatly contributed to creating a broad platform for effective engagement with the government and other stakeholders regarding peace building in the Niger Delta. It was restated that the group remains focused on providing a forum for various concerned groups to engage in fruitful dialogue and consensus building in a bid to de-escalate hostilities and address fundamental issues in the Niger Delta. We work to produce a blueprint of fundamental issues for dialogue and measures to show up to secure peace and sustain peace.
If you look at the two groups, there are persons of repute covering the entire Niger Delta. And these are persons of credibility, which personally I was impressed meeting the groupings. And I'm very sure that the outcome of the meeting will see the light of day concerning stabilizing and bringing peace to the Niger Delta crisis.
You're watching news across Nigeria. As the deadline draws closer, the FRSC speak on the speed limit device as it affects motorists. Please stay with us.